challenging weekend this past weekend, playing at Michigan. A lot of that had to do with the opponent. Thought there were some positives and some things to improve upon, from our perspective. But just to start, what an incredible stage that our student athletes had the opportunity to play on. And, certainly a tremendous opponent in front of us. And I would say coming out of the game, and I think probably Michigan feels this way also. I think they are significantly improved over what they were a year ago. I thought the two places that really stood out to me were, number one, the quarterback play, and not that I didn't think he was an outstanding player. I thought he was one of the top quarterbacks in the country going into the game. He's probably the best quarterback that I've faced as a head coach. And we played Florida State when they were ranked number 1 in the country, and Jameis Winston was, tearing it up, and they were winning the national championship. And that was a very impressive performance Saturday. I think defensively, Michigan has improved over a year ago, and I think that is an experienced veteran ball club that looks like a legitimate contender for the national championship. And I think that we could have made it a much more competitive game than it was. It could have been a much closer game, but we couldn't make the mistakes that we made. I thought that our kids competed very well. I thought we played our tails off for most of the day. And I think that there are some bright spots that we can take from that game and build on. And there's things, and the players and coaches, we all looked at the tape and found several areas that we can improve on fairly quickly that would make a drastic difference in our performance. And I felt like we had a very motivated team Sunday, both in film and on the practice field, and the players have been around all day yesterday, all day today. They went all in on getting ready for Marshall immediately. They're really excited about this weekend being back in Dowdy-Ficklin. They understand the quality of the opponent coming in here. They understand exactly who Marshall is. It's going to be a great game, and they're excited to get out there. So I expect us to have a great week of practice this week, and really looking forward to Saturday afternoon. Questions?
Coach, with Alex and Mason, how do you kind of find that balance of you want to try to get them in as much of a rhythm as possible? You guys have to win the game, obviously, as well. So what are those conversations like with you and your staff going to the game days?
Well, I think that both of them did some really, really good things on Saturday. And I think both of them had stretches on Saturday where they played really well. Both of them had some stretches where they can play better, and they know they will play better. And I think that was that's a pretty daunting stage for your first college start, or your second college start. The first one was during the pandemic in front of nobody. And I thought that Mason responded really, really well in the second half. I thought Alex did a great job coming in the second quarter and played really well off the bench. So I think there's things that both of them can take from that and build on, and areas that they can improve on. So that's what we'll focus on this week. Just excited to get the opportunity to go back out on Saturday and play again. That's the great thing about our sport. We get a chance this weekend to go back out and do it again.
Coach, what are your thoughts on the way both quarterbacks handled some of the pre-snap type of stuff and trying to get the right play calls in and getting the reads in, some of that kind of stuff?
Well, I would give you virtually the exact same answer I just gave Stephen. I think there are stretches where they did a really good job with it, and there are stretches that they can improve on, and that's both of them.
You talk a lot about the chemistry between receivers and quarterback. Is there any concern about a chemistry with going with a 2-quarterback system?
Well, I think the chemistry piece is with our entire offense for the most part. You had 5 guys on the offensive line that were playing together for the very first time on Saturday, and they're fairly youthful. You've got some guys in skill positions that are playing together for the very first time. A little bit the same way with the secondary defensively. I think chemistry is something that it comes about by doing it. There's no way you can create it. You can try to create it in practice, but it's truly created on game day. I think last Saturday is a great first step, and this Saturday will be the next. And so hopefully we see some fruits of last Saturday's performance, and we see a much smoother execution this Saturday.
Just get into Marshall a little bit, some of the challenges they present for you this week, and some of the things you want to kind of take advantage of game plan wise.
Well, I think very good ball club. They return the bulk of their production from last year. The tailback Ali, we know him very well. He was a pain in the rear end 2 years ago up there. First play of the game Saturday, he takes it 70 yards untouched. That one got called back on a holding penalty. He scored 2 other times during the game later on, but he was very, very productive Saturday, and they did not play a clean game, much like us Saturday. So I don't think that he was as productive as he could have been. So we got our hands full with it. The quarterback, he came in maybe a third of the way through the year last year, played very, very well down the stretch. He has continued on. I thought he was very solid on Saturday. Really impressed with him. Gets the ball out of his hands fast. Really good athlete, good runner. Very accurate with the RPO game and all that stuff. So he's going to create some issues. The receiver number 10 is a dynamic playmaker. They got a tight end transferred from Central Michigan, number 83. Had a really nice game Saturday. So I think they are very dangerous offensively. Defensively, they return a bunch of guys from a very good defensive unit last year. Statistically, they were one of the better defensive units in the country last year. So, good defensive front, very active linebackers, athletic secondary, very aggressive scheme. So, this is a good football team coming in here. It's a 9-win team from a year ago, and I know they're one of the better teams in the Sun Belt this year, so it's going to be a great challenge. So, we had a dogfight up there 2 years ago. We were lucky to get away with a win there. It's going to be a dogfight this Saturday.
Coach, you mentioned 2 years ago the game going up there in the dogfight. How much weight you kind of put into those last 2 years that you've played them, and kind of talk about how you're going to build a game plan around it, but it's a very different roster than it was 2 years ago.
It is a different roster. It's the adage, every year's a new year and every team's a new team. So, and it's a little bit for them too. Wells was the quarterback up there 2 years ago. He's at Virginia Tech now, so it's a new quarterback. You got some new skill guys for them. The thing I take away from it is just, these two programs and these two universities are linked by the tragedy of the plane crash, back in 1971. And I think that the rivalry between the two schools is always going to be linked closely. I think that adds, a lot of emotion to everything. And I think this game is always going to be one that's just highly competitive and just has a lot of, things around it that add to it. And I think this is one of those games that you hope the two universities find a way to continue playing moving forward. I think it's a good regional matchup for both teams.
I guess you said 12 plays to be reviewed after Saturday, and a few of them got overturned. Jack Powers will be back for Saturday, and he won't have to sit out the first half. How do you approach that with your team after the fact?
Well, first off, we're fortunate that there's an appeals process for targeting, and it was, after it was reviewed, it was deemed that there was no targeting on the play, and so I'm thankful for that because Jack is available for us for the entire game this Saturday. I'm not quite sure how many plays we sent in. I don't know that it's quite 12, but you get frustrated sometimes. Sometimes, you know, your frustrations are justified, sometimes they're not, but there's absolutely nothing you can do about it after the game. I mean, that's it. You know, I think everybody's human, and there's going to be human error anytime humans are involved, and it's the first game of the year. So just like me, just like the players, I'm sure that you know, everybody's trying to, you know, work the kinks out and do a better job this weekend.
Coach, on the offense side of the ball, a lot of different guys got in a lot of the skill positions.
Yep.
How well do you think you were able to evaluate? I mean, I looked at the running backs' plays, and we had about 4 guys that all played about the same amount of reps.
Yeah, you know, I think we have a lot of competition at some spots, and the running back room is one of them. And I think, you know, it's like a lot of positions. You know, you're trying to make sure that you get the guys that have shown they're ready, get them, you know, playing time. You know, figuring out, you know, some guys that are maybe new to the program. You know, where do they fit? You know, how do things you know, where do they fit? How do they work together? You know, a lot of stuff like that. So it's you know, last Saturday was great because it's a game. It's not practice. You know, hopefully we get more snaps. You know, that game was pretty short as far as number of snaps for both teams last Saturday. It's just the way the game played out. So hopefully we'll have more snaps this week and be able to get guys, you know, more time on the field.
No sacks allowed on Saturday. How big was that for a group that hasn't really played a ton together, and just your overall thoughts on the O-line?
No sacks for either team. You know, that's when was the last time you saw a college football game with that. So, you know, I think first time together, you know, taking that into consideration, the opponent that we faced, and just the talent and experience across on the other side of the ball, I would say you're not disappointed in the offensive line and their performance on Saturday. I thought we had some really bright spots. Just like everything else, we got some areas we can improve on. The key is going to be, you know, how do we take that? How do we play this week? I thought Dustin Hall showed great leadership in his first game as a Pirate, and you know, that was a big bright spot for me. I thought Richard in his first college start handled himself, you know, pretty well. I thought the tackles had a tough task against what they were playing against, and they had some really good stuff and some stuff that was, you know, they can improve on. I thought Jacob and Isaiah, you know, both did some really positive things, and there's some things that they can improve on. So, you know, I'd say you're not disappointed first time out. I expect them to play better this week, and if they can do that and continue to trend that direction, then we'll be very happy with them this year.
Coach, you talked about just the overall excitement around opening day, but this is home opening day, which
Yeah.
is also right up there. So is
Oh.
that something you got to do with this week?
There's nothing like Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. I mean, our fans, you know, I expect the stadium to be full Saturday. No reason it shouldn't be. It's going to be a mid-afternoon kickoff, so they got plenty of time to tailgate, and you know, I think that's important too. And it's going to be a great matchup, great ball game. You know, the kids are looking forward to the Pirate Walk and seeing the fans. Pirate Walk will be at 1:30 on Saturday, so they're looking forward to all that. You know, they're looking forward to coming out of the tunnel, and you know, purple haze, and you know, the game day entrance, and looking forward to kickoff. I mean, it's when Dowdy-Ficklin is rocking, it is the best experience, you know, that there is, and our players are excited about it. We have a ton of recruits coming in this weekend. They're excited about it. We have a lot of guys that are committed to us that are coming to see, you know, Dowdy-Ficklin, exactly what it is. You know, some of them haven't been here yet, and so there's a lot of people excited about the home opener.
Coach Kerry King, he had a great offseason, you know, was in line probably to play a lot for you guys. We didn't see him Saturday. Can you update us on his status?
Unfortunately, Kerry is out for the season, and it's, I'll tell you what, that one breaks my heart now. That kid has worked his tail off, had put himself in a position to start. He would have started Saturday for us against Michigan, and had a great preseason, and it was just a freak, one of those freak deals. And, you know, so right now he's, you know, biggest thing with him right now is just trying to make sure he stays in a positive place mentally. He'll be back, but not this year. And, we'll miss his production on the field. We'll miss his leadership in the locker room. He's got to get through some things right now personally, but, he'll be back as a part of our team from a support standpoint. It's just one of those things that happens, unfortunately, in athletics.
Coach, I was just curious about something. There was a video that went viral last night about a coach in Kansas that said 7.6% of kids will play college sports, but 100% of them will be adults. And the question at the end says, how are we using our platform to prepare them for adulthood? I was just curious what you thought about that.
I think that is the ultimate responsibility of a coach. And I think that sometimes sometimes some of us do get too caught up in winning. Winning's important. I understand that I've got to win to keep my job. I understand that. But our job is to make sure that we're growing up young men that will be productive citizens, and our job is to make sure that they leave East Carolina with a degree. I'm proud of the young men that we have in our locker room. I think we have outstanding young men that have strong character, and I think it's our job to develop that and make sure that that's a priority. And so I think he's dead on.
You talked about the pomp and circumstance, you love this. Is there one thing that you love in particular that you dream about when it's off season, about game day, whether it's running out of the tunnel or something? And a two-part question. The second one is, do you ever sing Living on a Prayer when that's happening during the game?
I don't sing, but that's one of the highlights. There's nothing like that, especially, the Pirates are playing well and the stadium's energized, and, the fans are into it, and there's a lot of things about game day that I dream about in the off season. I really enjoy the Pirate Walk because it gives you a chance to really engage the fans. I love right before kickoff, the feeling in the stadium. I love post-game, when we win, celebrating with the students and the band in the boneyard. There's just a lot. And so there's a lot I'm looking forward to Saturday. And, if we can find a way to get a win, it's going to be a really, really special day.
Coach, you touched on it earlier, but you guys have multiple weeks to prepare for Michigan in the preseason. Now it's like when you get in the season mode, it's just such a quick turnaround, and it hits you faster. How do you think the players and the staff are going to handle that quick turnaround?
Well, the staff was able to spend some time with Marshall this summer. So, and you still, that one game, and I believe Marshall was not showing us everything in the game against Albany. So, you've looked at a lot of stuff from their season last year. So, we're using a lot of that in our breakdowns. And so we already had kind of a preliminary, game plan prepared for them. So staff-wise, it's still a rush, okay? And it's a rush because you only practice for them for 1 week. But the staff is not as big of a change as for the players. And like I said, the players understood that, and that's why I saw they're diving in fast this week. But every week now it becomes a race, and now it's a race to get, it's a race to get to today, because you got to have game plans and install and get the kids, understanding everything before we go on the field today. And then it becomes the race for game day of getting everything ironed out, everybody on the same page, and the balance between, you got to practice, but you got to be fresh. I did think we were pretty fresh Saturday against Michigan, and so the goal is to be fresh this Saturday. So it's a balancing act, but it's also a race against time. But that's the challenge now that everybody in the country has.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thanks a lot. See you Saturday.
Appreciate it, Coach.